Hi Rune Hunters, this is K7 from ARRANTIDE-GAMING, and in today's video we are going to go over the Cross Lightning Arrow Charge Release build. But with that said, let's get straight into the gameplay. Afterwards we will follow that by the build guide itself. Okay, so we're gonna go over the runes that I use for the Cross Lightning Arrow Charge Release build, and then we'll go over possibilities of what other runes you can use and what you can complement it with other skills. Now, when it comes to a build in general, maximizing your slots is going to be key. So the way that I work on my build is I always have an attack enhance, which in this case is going to be a release element. I have an attack seal, which is going to be the seal of condensed elements, and I have a rapid seal, which that is the seal of striking with the source awakening. So those are the three attacking seals that I have in any build that I want to make, which is a attack enhance, an attack seal, and a rapid seal. Now we're going to follow that by a defense enhance, which in this case is Tenacious Regen. You can also switch that for Siphon Life. I use Siphon Life for a very long time. I definitely think that's also a really good skill. And for the defense seal, I use Seal of Elemental Domain. You can also use Seal of Physical Domain, Seal of Dodge, or you can use Seal of Defense, depending on what stat you need the most. Now, usually with some builds, you also want to get an additional DPS for bossing, or if you just want to, get an additional attack skill in there. So for that, I'm using Rain of Arrows, which is great for killing elites. It's really good for the bosses or even for the raid. The cool thing about Rain of Arrows is you can shoot Rain of Arrows and let it keep running while you continue to attack. Now, as for the other seal that I'm using, the other toggle that I'm using, that's going to be Illusion Arrow. This is more of a utility toggle. It does attack, but you can also use it to, add some additional damage, or you can use it to get some link runes such as gold gain or item drop rarity and things of the sorts. Now you can also use Illusion Axe here, but however, because of the range and the automatic nature of Illusion Arrow, I highly recommend, if you are a bow build, to go with Illusion Arrow over Illusion Axe. Now we're going to go ahead and follow that by our movement skill, which in this case is roll. Now you can use teleport as well. That works really well. However, for me, I like the fact that you get the dodge rate amplification, so I went ahead and got the roll instead, and that is triggering our Shout of Provocation, which increases the damage and armor amplification, so it gives you a little bit more damage. You get the armor amplification as well, which helps with your defenses. As you can see, the cooldown time is 7.1 and the shout skill duration is 7.6, so this is basically every time I roll I get that bonus, and it's just perfect. Now in order for us to get out of crowd control situations, I use the Shout of Justice, triggered with the buff activation upon crowd control. Be mindful that this is not when you inflict the crowd control, it's when you get crowd controlled. So things such as freeze or bind or whatnot, once you get those crowd controlled on you, this will go ahead and remove that condition. Now, as the totem that we're going to be using, I'm using the weaken totem just to get an additional damage, and that's being triggered into our attack enhance. So every time you press the attack enhance, that will go ahead and summon your totem and give you a little burst of damage. in order to fill up our last slot on our room board, which as you can see, I have Veil of Protection. This is just an additional dampening. You can select between Earth Veil or Wind Veil, and Earth Veil will give you melee damage taken decrease, and Wind will give you projectile damage taken decrease. I personally perfected projectile because usually as a ranged player, I can reach the melee monsters faster, and I can get to them quicker than I can with the ranged monsters, and the ranged monsters do quite a bit of damage. Now with that said, let's get into the two main skills that we're going to be focusing on, which is Cross Lightning Arrow. Now I've paired that up with Lightning Penetration, Quick Attack, Elemental Damage Amplification, Harmony, and that's being triggered into Charge Release, which also has Lightning Penetration, Strike, Mana Storm, Concentrated Area Damage, and Projectile Acceleration. As you can see, Concentrated Area Damage is being shared between all three of my attack skills, and basically what that does is that frees up 2 additional slots for link runes for me. That is key. Once you start opening the rune board to the max, you want to maximize them at the most amount of link runes as you can to increase your damage and just be more effective. Now you don't necessarily have to use these exact same runes, because some of them are harder to achieve or get at the beginning of the game, such as Strike, such as Mana Storm, such as Element Damage Amplification, and Harmony. You can replace those runes with Continuous Shock, or you can use the additional lightning damage to start. Okay, and then later on, once you start getting all the runes, you can switch them in. Now, as you can see, there is a conversion going on Rain of Arrows. Rain of Arrows is a physical attack, and in order for me to utilize my lightning damage, I went ahead and used the Convert Lightning. It also has Killing Machine, which is shared between both Rain of Arrows and Illusion Arrow. The reason for Killing Machine is to just get the additional benefits of Killing Machine, which gives you amplification and movement speed, and because the Illusion Arrow is a automatic skill, it works really well. And as you can see, the Illusion Arrow has Extract Energy, and that's because we've switched the energy to fire, and with it being fire energy, you get additional damage from the fire energies. So if you look, Fire Element, Fire Energy, increased damage plus 30% per stack, and the number of stacks that you can get, I believe is 4. I could be wrong, but you can get some additional damage with that. Now that's basically the rune board, and then you also of course want to pair your 2 main attack skills with a really good rune stone. In this case, I have damage amplification, and I have crit rate for the Rain of Arrows. Okay, we get to the part where I'm going to go ahead and showcase the gear and what you should be looking out for this build. Now, the most important thing for this build when it comes to damage is going to be your lightning damage. So you really want to focus on getting your lightning damage as high as you can. In my case, it's about 50k. Now, in order to do that, you need 3 things. You need lightning flat, you need lightning percentage, and you need lightning amplification. Now, the most important part of getting a good amount and considerable amount of lightning damage is going to be your flat lightning damage. The reason for that is that lightning flat is very rare and hard to get. There's only a few places that you can get your lightning flat. So in order to maximize your lightning percentage and lightning amplification, you need to have a very high lightning flat. Now, there's only a few pieces that you can get lightning flat on, so that's going to be your weapon. As you can see, you can get on the legendary, and you can also get it as your prefix. In my case, I did not roll with that. The other pieces that you can go ahead and get yourself lightning flat is going to be your gloves. And now this is an authority exclusive stat that I rolled. Now this is a dual authority, so meaning that the first part of it with the prefixes has one authority and the second part has a different authority. Now that could also be in you can have two different types of authority in a prefix or suffix or vice versa. Now the other pieces that you can get lightning flat is going to be your quiver, also your necklaces as prefix, and as for your rings, you can get them as your authority. So these are the other two areas that you can get your lightning flat. With that said, the other parts of your gear are going to be very similar to anyone else's gear, basically. So that is what's going to make this build more special, is going to be the lightning flat. Everything else is very interchangeable and also very similar to other builds. I'm going to quickly just showcase what I have on my gear so you can take a look. If you need to take a screenshot and go back to it, feel free. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. But I also don't want to make this video 20 minutes long. So we're going to go over. So that is the weapon that I'm currently using, another dual authority helmet. We are using a single authority shoulder, a triple authority chest piece, dual authority gloves, dual authority boots, no authority on the quiver, and single authority on the necklace, dual authority belt, and no authority on this particular ring. However, I do highly recommend to get overpower. That also, the overpower effect basically gives you flat damage as well. So that's gonna be very important. That's why on my new ring I worked on getting the overpower effect. But I hope that was helpful to you in regards to the gear that I'm using. Again, the most important thing about the gear for this build is going to be lightning flat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. Okay, so the next section of the video is going to be charms. Now, you don't necessarily have to use this exact same charm setup, but I find it to be very useful. I do have a 4x140 setup, which includes 140 Alyssa, Leo, Acubin, and Castor, and that gives me an additional benefits as well. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So for Alyssa, I'm getting the area damage amplification, Acubin gives you the lightning damage amplification, Leo gives you the projectile, and Castor gives you the elemental damage amplification. Now, the way that you know that whether using a certain charm is useful to you or not is you want to take a look at the tags of your attacks and go from there. So for example, cross lightning arrow is not only a area of effect which uses Alyssa, it's also projectile which you can use Leo, and also it's got lightning which you can use Acubin and Castor. Now if you were to look at charge release, it's pretty much the exact same. So you have area of effect, lightning, and projectile, and that's why this setup is so good by getting the 4x140 blessings. Now, with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the way that you can achieve that. Now, in order for you to achieve 4x140, there's a few things you need. So you need to have a chaos star that has 48, 48, 48, and that means that every single charm that was on that chaos star, that was used on that chaos star, was a tier 9, and it was also legendary. Now that keyword being legendary, because sometimes you'll go in and you'll see these stars that are being sold have less than 48, and that makes it super difficult, if not impossible. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the blessing effect on our chaos star by 140%, which increases our blessings from 48 to 115. With that said, if it is 115, what you're going to need is you're going to need one of each of your blessings that is on your chaos star. So in my case, it's going to be Castor, Acubin, and Alyssa. So we have one of each of those on there. And then for the other three, you're going to need your fourth blessing, which in my case is going to be Leo. Now, from the Leos, you need to have, at the very least, one of them needs to have the following a blessing. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look so I can go ahead and show it. So you can see the blessing effect 115%. This is a must. So you have to have one of the Leos in our case have the blessing effect, and the other one has to have another blessing effect of 25%. Let's go ahead and show you which one that's going to be. So the blessing effect of 25%. So that those two are needed in order for you to get your Leo to 140. Now everything else that we have on here, and I'm just going to quickly showcase, is going to be you're basically based on your charms. What do you have? Do you have something that has higher suffix or prefix? Do you have something that has a better legendary? So that is completely up to you. I am also using a crit all option. So as you can see, my board is completely blue. And not everyone knows that on top of doing a single link, you can do a multi-link as well. In my case, I'm using an apply to all slots critical effect, and basically what that does is that increases anything that has crit rate or crit damage by a certain percentage. In this case, it's 23 and 12.5. But I hope that answers any questions you may have about my charm setup for this build. Okay, so in this section, we're going to go over the Zodiacs. Now, keep in mind, now you can have a completely different Zodiac setup that I do based on your needs. Now, Zodiacs to me are a tool that helps me utilize certain aspects of the game. For example, if I want to reach the cap maximum of 5 attack speed, I can go ahead and utilize Zodiacs. Same thing with Zodiac stones as well. So instead of going too far into the Zodiacs, as this could be different for you, I'm just going to go ahead and showcase what I'm using for my build, so you can have a general understanding of what could be a good setup. However, if you are a new player, this doesn't mean that you should follow this to the T and expect miracles to happen and have X amount of damage. This is good for my build, and I'll give you an example here. For if you are under the cap speed of 5, for you it would be better to go with the bottom row. But we'll go ahead and showcase what I have and then move from there. If you need to take a screenshot, feel free to pause the video and take a screenshot. And we're going to go over to our specializations. These are the most important Zodiacs that you will have. So make sure you're utilizing the points that you get in your specialization to the best of your ability. Now, as in regards to the Zodiac stones, pretty much everything that I have is going to have HP and hit rate on it, because that's something that I need. You can change it to something else. Sorry. And for the specializations, I try to get, whatever it is that I can utilize most, which is elemental damage amplification, lightning damage amplification, lightning penetration in this case. And in the other specialization, I have element damage and critical damage. Element damage taken dampening here. And in the third one, I have intelligence plus damage, crit rate, and totem duration. These are these are a little bit more difficult to get, but once you do get your specialization Zodiac stones, I highly recommend to make sure that you get the best rolls that you possibly can, as they're very powerful and they can go ahead and give you ample amounts of damage. Now, when it comes to Zodiacs, what you really want to focus on is what your build needs. So if you need attack speed, again, go for the attack speed. If you need hit rate, go for hit rate. Those are some of the important things to keep in mind. Now, as for the way I have set up my points, I basically have everything set up to what my build needs, which is 313 for all three. And then afterwards, whatever remainder I have put into dexterity because I need the hit rate and the dodge rate. And then we can go over my stats as well really quick, so you can kind of have an understanding of what everything kind of looks like. So cross lightning arrow, as you can see, we have a 5.0, which is the most important thing. Lightning penetration is pretty high. Hit chance, critical damage. And if we go ahead and take a look at our DPS, we're currently at 11 billion. Lightning damage 49. So disregard this number because this does not include quick attack link rune. That's why I look at the skill first. Hit rates, we have a crit rate that is at 657. The goal for this season was 700. Now that's going to increase by a little bit, and I want to say 750 for next season. And as for attack critical damage, we want to go for as far as we can, closer to 1300. Now I've made some changes and I'm still working on this build, hence why the crit rate is not at 700. It used to be, but it's gone a little down. And then the other thing we really want to focus on is trying to get the chance to do maximize damage as high as we can, and that's via the there's a few Zodiacs that will help you with the double, but not necessarily the triple. And then if you want to get more, you can utilize the charms that give you a legendary, and you can use, you know, the legendary charm upgrade slots to help sorry, to get your chance to deal maximize damage a little bit higher. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build guide. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to ask in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. But as always, thank you for watching ARRANTIDE Gaming, and I hope you have a wonderful day.